Today, I'm joined today by Wade Lester, the owner and founder of Leadngage. We're going to do a deep dive into all that Leadngage is and how it serves real estate agents. So, Wade, thank you so much for taking the time to share a little bit more about your company.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so to start off, to go to the foundation of Leadngage, can you share what the core mission of Leadngage is and how it serves real estate agents and teams?
Absolutely. So we have been a Follow Up Boss user since, I'd probably say a year after they first came out when they first started with version one, and just really got um, really involved with Follow Boss as far as using it and really, um, enjoyed all the features. And then when we figured out they had an open I actually was just my brain was thinking about how can we enhance this, and I like this new concept. So the whole drip texting thing, that was one of the things we were missing as a team. So I just kind of went in and built it for us and started playing around with it. And then it just kind of from there evolved into something that everybody needs. And so we're able to now use that API and now add a whole lot more features to try to help agents with lead conversion, lead follow-up, and trying to more automate the process,
Yeah.
um, but still keep it human.
Yeah, absolutely. So starting with like the core feature you just mentioned of drip texting, how have you seen that sort of enhance the ability of agents to reach leads or nurture leads compared to just using the standard action plans and follow boss?
Yeah, so texting is obviously more even in today's world, and texting will probably get there as well one day, but email boxes get just really full. And so texting is right on their phone. Most everybody has their phone with them, beside them all day long. And so it's a much better way to get engagement, but it still needs to be all three forms of communication. And even direct mail, which will be coming out probably end of this year or later this year, direct mail thing as well. So
Yeah. Us personally, we see an increase of response rate of about like 20 to 30%. Where before, when they were just doing the one initial text and email drip, it was 20 to 30% less response rate. So it's incredible of how much more people respond to text messages and continued texts, not just sending one, but continuing to
correct.
try.
Yeah. We're actually been running the numbers, and we're finding that on average, it's usually the fifth to seventh text, believe it or not, is the one that gets responded to.
Oh,
We
wow.
ever get response on the first one. It's always so the reason that the consistency and the automation is important, especially using your plans that you've written out, is that the consumers are busy. The cell phone only has this much screen to get their attention. So that day, if they get 9 messages or whatever, you're already down below their screen. So with this automation, it stays on top of them. So with everyday consumer at work and busy lives, they may be on lunch break when they get the text, or they may be or they may be in the car and not get it. So it's really that consistency to get their attention. And that's what we really focused on with your smart plans and the consistency with texting.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm guilty of that, even just with my own friends and family. There's, these funny videos on the internet. I don't know if you've seen them on like Instagram or TikTok where people say, oh, oops, went another 3 weeks without responding to my family. Like right before this webinar, I got 2 text messages from different family members just back to back all of a sudden. I'm like, well, I hope I don't forget to text them. I have so many things going on and I forget. And then they text me again. So,
Yeah.
if I do it to my own family and friends, like of course they're going to do it to businesses. So having that continual try of like 5, 10, 20 text messages to reach somebody is definitely true.
And deliverability is huge too now. So, we're all fighting with the new algorithms and all this new stuff. So with our app, the reason we added the Call Connect feature in was because once the consumer receives the text message and they don't mark it or they don't flag it, it then becomes in their phone as a trusted source. So when the agent now clicks our Call Connect button, it goes directly to them and the answer they pick right up versus calling from an unknown number. So it's really enhanced using the Call Connect and the texting has really enhanced the pickup rate and getting people to answer.
Yeah, since you mentioned Call Connect, can you share what that is for those who don't know?
Yeah, so it's a new feature that we added in the embedded app where basically they just click a button and it's you're familiar with the well, Follow Boss has, I think when you can dial on the dialer through the voice over IP, what Call Connect does is basically just rings the assigned agent and then they press one to connect to the lead. So it's just literally a cell bridge and it happens instantly. So it doesn't matter if you have one agent or 1,000 agents. It doesn't matter. Whatever the assigned agent is, rings them, rings the consumer.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and not only in the widget, but it can also be automated, right? So, like in a new lead action plan, you can have a command for call to connect, and then the agent doesn't even have to proactively do it or find the lead. That's what Leadngage will do instead.
correct. Yes, it will instantly connect the agent with the lead, kind of like a forced call follow-up. And so, yeah, we're building that out to be more robust to where right now you can add it to your action plan that it rings the assigned agent that actually claimed the lead. So it attempts to force it on them versus them pick up the phone and make the call. We're actually, our feedback on that has been, let's add it to the action plans that call the agent at specific times throughout the day. So it just kind of proactively tries to force those calls. And then the team leaders can now go, okay, you didn't pick up. Your pickup rate is 0 or it's 10, like, so we can now rate those.
Oh, so does that get reported somewhere on a dashboard for team leaders to see pickup rates?
On our back end, it will. It's not, that is not out, that is on our roadmap to be able to make that more robust because that is, yeah, everybody's asking about the reporting. So we have to work on that next. Um,
Yeah.
but that's my goal because I see that as a huge, I actually, a funny story. So with my team here, this can actually get abused because I actually went a little bit too deep with trying to automate everything and I ran my agents out because I just
Overcalled them.
overcalled them, overcomplicated them. And they're like, we're fine picking up the phone and just dialing. But I'm like, we're kind of testing the waters to kind of get feedback on that or what team leaders think, because we don't want to also run the agents off.
Yeah, it may be, if it's a large team and you're doing a lot of lead generation, it may be identifying who are the premium leads to proactively call. Because at some point, the agent's just going to get call after call after call after call because there's just so many things triggering it.
Right.
Like Facebook lead versus Zillow Flex lead, for example. Um, based on stage as well, perhaps compared
Right.
to someone who's labeled as freezing in your CRM. I just had a conversation with someone before this call where you could use, but again, you have to be careful. Like you said, you can use this tool for you can use Call Connect for behavior on your website. Like if someone fills out a form again, that's considered an inquiry and follow-up boss, and so it can actively call the agent, but then you have to keep an eye on like how often does that happen? Do we need to put parameters in place to like check for the stage, check for last communication? Like we don't want to call someone every day if we just spoke to them yesterday. So there's lots of nuances in there. But on that, I have a couple of questions about Call Connect because I don't know the answer. What does the caller ID say to the agent?
Yeah, so great question. What we do is when we set up the agent's Twilio account, so the way our system works is each agent has their own Twilio account, and we chose that option so the agents own their own account. They don't rent it from us, they own it. They can unplug or plug. When we set that up, we go through a call trust setup to where they set up their caller ID and the CNAM settings. And then so they can they have so many characters they can type in. So it can just put their name. So we can put a caller ID setting in for what that shows up on. And
And
depending
what
on the
about
consumer,
Yeah, and so what about when the agent receives the call from Leadngage? What does the caller ID say? Does it just say Leadngage or follow-up
oh,
boss or
they would just need to mark it in their phone whenever we do their setup. It's actually going to be their own number. It'll be their Leadngage number calling them to connect. So they would need to flag it.
okay, I see. One cool idea for the roadmap, I'm sure you already have tons on there already. Well, two
I'm writing it
actually
down. I'm grabbing my pen.
is whenever the agent picks up the call before it calls the lead, just telling like, I don't know if you can use AI or just text to speech,
It
pulling like
does.
the name, the source, maybe information about the inquiry, or like the most recent inquiry, or maybe even like if there was a note added in Follow Up Boss alongside of the call connect tag, like reading what that note says before it calls the lead,
That
so
is
that you
super
can.
easy. So right now it says Jim Jones lead, press 1 to connect. Well, great point. Need to put the source in there. So I can easily add that as a custom field. And it just, the voice just reads the custom fields. That's a great
Yeah,
point.
yeah,
That,
that's
that
cool.
that's super easy. And yeah, because they don't know who they're calling, kind of prep them for the call.
Yeah,
Um,
and then like another idea is, let's say a lead's in the pond. Instead of ringing the pond lead, maybe have the option to have call connect team inbox or something like that. So it rings several agents and whoever picks up the call gets the lead since it's in
oh
the
yeah,
pond anyway.
that is on our roadmap to do a ring all, kind of a first to claim ring all.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that is something we're playing with. Yeah, I think that would be good as well. Um, and but trying to keep it to where we're not, because if we ring the phone too many times, it's just like with alerts.
Yes.
Like I have some teams that say you're over alerting me, and some, and so but if you have to find that happy medium because you want to get the alert, but then if you get so many, you're just like, turn it off, right?
Yes. Yeah. Block this number. I don't want
Yeah,
calls from Leadngage anymore.
right, right.
Yeah.
Great,
So
great
can
feedback on that.
Yeah, yeah. There's another tool I know that you've created of sort of an all-in-one inbox where you can pull different other channels into Follow Up Boss inbox. So can you share what that feature is and what different inboxes it pushes over to Follow Up Boss?
Absolutely. So going back to your original question is why did you, or what spurred you to build this? So there are other systems out there that offer an omni-channel spot. And so what I found what was happening was, and really my aha moment for me was we get probably maybe 3 to 4 chats a month on Google My Business. I'm big on Google My Business. I'm big on inbound leads. And so what I found is that I missed out on almost $1 million listing opportunity because it was a Google My Business chat. It was random. Very rare do I get them. And where did it go? It went into my email. Where
Mm,
my email is flooded and I wasn't looking for that. And somebody literally reached out because I had the chat turned on. And I was like, okay, this doesn't make sense. First of all, I get Facebook messages and I get Google My Business messages. So what I said was, let's take that technology, let's build it into Follow Up Boss where everybody uses the system the most, and let's put it where they live most of their day. And so that's when we decided to do Google, Instagram, Facebook, and now web chat. Any kind of web chat, live chat goes into Follow Up Boss as well. So you just don't leave Follow Up Boss and you can and not worry about missing an opportunity of somebody trying to reach you because
yeah.
app skipping just is a time suck.
Yeah. It's that whole alerts thing again and having to log into so many platforms like,
Mhm.
if you have an assistant, say you have to log in Facebook to check messages and you have to log into Instagram, check messages, and it's just like never ending list of all of these social platforms.
Yeah.
Um, and so since you mentioned another tool, which I already forgot what you mentioned it was, you just mentioned another tool we haven't talked about yet. What was it?
One of my tools.
Yeah, yeah. In
Um,
that message in that sentence you just said.
so was it the call, the Google My Business, that the social chat and the web chat widget, was that it?
Yes, the web chat widget. Can you share what that is and how that works?
Yeah, so have you seen on most websites, so for instance, a lot of our users that use the YLOPO, basically there's no way for the only way for the lead to reach you is to search for your phone number and then pick up the phone and call. Well, in today's world, people don't really want to pick up the phone and call you. They want an instant way to reach you. So what we found with our web chat widget, as you know, is a little widget that pops up on the bottom of the screen. We have two of them. We have one as our basic and one as our enhanced. But if it's a new user, that little widget will pop up and say, hey, I'm down here if you need me, ask me a question. And so that allows them to go, hey, I just have a quick question, and they'll chat you. So right now, what it does, it collects your name and your phone number, and then it basically sends us a message to Follow Up Boss that, hey, you've got a new web chat lead. but it goes to the user as an SMS. So it's an SMS. So at the end of the day, it's not a live chat because we all know we're not monitoring that 24/7. But once we're on their phone, we can have that conversation. And what we see with the web chat is people that have a real estate question. It's usually they just have a real estate question. They found you on Google. They're not like an internet lead that you've forced capture. They found you and they have a question.
Hmm.
And it's not a high volume, but the volume that you get, the inbound request is usually a good request. And so, good takeaway here for everybody that's listening is for agents on Google My Business, if you set up your Google My Business that you check the home appraisals box, it's been a game changer for us because I cannot tell you how many calls we get and they want an appraisal. Why do you want an appraisal? Well, we're just curious. We're probably going to sell. So, there's a whole lot of reasons they want an appraisal. I can't tell you how many times we've converted those into listings because of just that. And they web chat in if you have the web chat option on Google My Business as well.
Wow, such a cool hack. I had never thought of that before. Get people before they're looking at real estate agents and they're just thinking about what's the value of my home. That's a really cool idea.
Yeah.
So these web chat messages and Facebook and Instagram, they go into follow-up boss, and then does the agent have the ability to respond to the lead in follow-up boss, or do they have to go back to those apps and respond?
No, so they come in. They come into our widget on the right side of the screen. They'll choose the channel. The channel will come in and say, it'll tell you the channel it comes in. And on the right side of the screen, you'll choose the channel you're responding on, and you respond to Facebook. And the goal is to respond to them and get their number. So then you can go to SMS. It's just to have that conversation. So Facebook has a 14-day limitation. So you cannot drip message. You can drip message them for 14 days through an action plan, but they'll block you after 14 days if there hasn't been if the other person hasn't responded.
Mm.
So there is no limitation on Google. You can literally drip text them on Google action plan or follow up. It's just the Facebook. And, of course, they could change that. But inside the app, yes, you can choose the action and the channel to respond them on.
Yeah, yeah. And I can't tell you how much business we've gotten from Facebook. And then just recently, we've decided to go to Instagram and start posting only organic, no ads really on Instagram, organic content. And a hack for people listening is when you see people follow your channel, proactively message them because you can and say, hey, thanks for the follow. I'm curious what prompted you to follow ups. We've gotten so many clients just from that. Like, oh, I like your content. For you, it'd be like, oh, I liked your video about, buying a home or this community. And then you connect, you get their email, their phone number, and now you've got a client from Instagram. And so being able to have a central place for those messages is huge for sure. Just that
And when
simple
you
little
bring them
hack.
into Follow Boss, you can categorize them and then you can mass delete them if it's spam. Because Instagram, you're going to get more spam, or I guess depending on how active you are. But at least it comes in and you can flag it and contact, organize it.
Yeah.
That's the key.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because your Facebook messages and Instagram messages have no way of categorizing or organizing. It's just one big mess, and you can't set yourself reminders to follow up or put them in a list anyway. And you can do all of that in Follow Up Boss and just
Yes.
make your own CRM out of it for sure. Yeah.
Yes.
So another tool I wanted to ask you about was the text for info. Can you share, it's been out for, several years. It's not anything particularly new, but it's nice that Leadngage has this feature. So can you share what text for info is and how that works?
So with the whole text thing, I'm like, okay, we want to try to expand on what else can we do? So literally, it's really simple. Basically, like you said, text for info has been out forever, but it's a separate service or it doesn't communicate with Follow Up Boss. So what we've done is we give the agent either keywords or key codes, or they tell us what codes or words they want. And when the consumer texts the Leadngage number with that code or word, we simply add that code or word to Follow Up Boss as a tag. That's it. Once that tag is added, then your system can then react, or they can build an action plan or automation to fire off the instant response.
Mm.
So, I've seen a lot of chatter online about text for info. People prefer QR codes. I totally disagree with that. If you have a property listed and the consumer pulls up, you have no way of capturing them with a QR code. All you're doing is giving them an instant link to that property. But when you don't give them a QR code and you make them text that number to get the info, they're not thinking about giving you their number. They're just strictly going, here's the code, I want instantly. They don't think about it. And it works. Some of the best leads we've ever gotten are drive-by text for info. So the way we have our setup is it instantly texts them back. So we kind of set it up like our super boxes. Every code is assigned to a listing as part of our SOPs for listings. Here's the address for 123 Main Street. And then if there's been no reply, which we're not expecting a reply, but the next day we'll just send them another text like we normally would, automated, just checking in, did you like the property? And so that goes on a drip campaign. And the way our system works is if they reply, it stops the campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Alerts the agent goes into the contact record, notices that it stopped and sees the reply, and they have to then manually reply going forward, or they can turn it back on.
Yeah. So
that
besides, oh, sorry, I was going to say, besides sign writers, how else have you seen people utilize the text for info tool?
billboards, mail marketing, any kind of, text this to get this type thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And did I miss any tools that Leadngage has? We talked about text for info, the messages coming over, web chat, drip texting, call connect.
So we have, missed call text back, another texting feature. If an incoming call comes in and the call gets missed, which agents miss a lot of calls, we're busy, right? You never know, just like the consumers. It's just catch us when you can. It will text them back and say, hey, sorry, I missed your call, or whatever custom message they want, and try to at least acknowledge they missed the call. Now that works really well because then they can just take that missed call and just shorten it up to a text conversation. If it's another agent calling them for a showing information, so not just the consumers, but just for their business as well. So that works really well. And we are actually enhancing that to give agents and teams more of a business call center setup flow where they can actually roll into an IVR where they can, for big companies, they can actually have options of where that call goes. So that's one feature. And then the other feature we didn't, which is not really out, it's on our app and it's in beta, but we added an ask.ai feature. So we have a channel on our embedded app where you can ask ChatGPT anything. And I've just recently noticed that some of our teams are using it for language conversions. And so we're seeing that if we send a text out in English and they respond in Spanish, then they just simply take that into our Ask AI and it converts it. And then they just quickly, fast can communicate in different languages without having to go to a separate app or go around. So that is something that was just fun that I added in. It was pretty simple. And we'll probably deploy that out in the next 30 days or so where it's active for everybody. So content, right, when you write it, right, you know how all the ChatGPT stuff you can do, it's just in Follow Up Boss. So what it does is it does it in a note. So you can do it in a contact record, or you can create a test contact called ask.ai and just do all your queries there.
Yeah. Yeah. So as we've been talking, you've kind of sprinkled in different things on your roadmap. Is there anything else on the horizon for Leadngage that we haven't talked about?
Yeah, there is, let's see, we do plan on adding reputation management, where it would just be another trigger in Follow Up Boss that when stage change is closed, let's trigger a drip automation to request a review. And then we'll trigger that for, let's say, 60 days, 6 requests over 60 days. What I find, I'm really big on reviews. To me, once you hit 50 reviews in Google, you start getting more organic inbound traffic. So I believe that as busy as agents are, we all want to ask for the review. And the only time we think about it is right after closing. Well, that's the worst time to ask for a review. Absolute worst, because people are busy They just closed. It was a happy moment, but then they've got to go deal with the reality of moving and packing. And that's the last thing you want to do is give you a review right then. So we're adding this feature in. I think agents need to ask for a review at any happy moment, any exciting happy moment in the transaction. And it's usually before, right? We just won the deal, or we just won the due deal, or whatever it was. And get that review then, or if not, set it on an automation campaign that goes out, that catches them at the right time asking for the review. So that's one thing. We're going to be adding a snooze option for SMS, more options on our snooze. We do have a delay feature where the agent can pre-schedule the message in advance, because you talk to the lead, they say, hey, Wade, we're not going to do that for 90 days or so, follow back up. So what I found is, and I build all this stuff because I know how my brain thinks as an agent. I've been an agent for over 20 years. So I know how at least my brain thinks, but it's like, if I make a task to follow up, I won't do it because I have so many tasks. It's just like delete them all, start over. So I'll just rewrite the message now for 90 days in the future and just know that it goes out, and I could even, so on the roadmap, I'll pre-schedule my 90-day call follow-up to ring me and say, hey, this is John Jones. This is your 90-day check-in.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So that's kind of what we're looking to do. And some more advanced workflow options that we'll be coming out with as well. The voice drops, this is later, but I want to do the personalized voice drops where we can now drop voicemail messages. Hey, Elena, happy birthday. This is Wade. My voice, but it inserts custom field names. So I really want to do that. That's something I kind of started going down that path, and it's easy to do, but it's in queue. It's down the road. But stuff like that, I like to try to enhance.
Yeah, more personal touches, more ways to.
Personal touches. Honestly, I think that the way things are going in our industry, that we're going to see more, we need to focus more on old school methods as well, and not overly automate our business, because as a real estate agent, I love our tools, and this is just one tool for the toolbox, but getting back to the old school methods, I still think direct mail is going to be a great, still staying with all those different things and those personal calls. Yeah.
Yeah. So if someone decides to work with Leadngage, what does support look like?
Yeah. So right now it's 3 of us. And as we grow, we will add more support staff. Right now, we don't really get a whole lot of support tickets, but as we do, you usually get a response back in less than 24 hours. Yeah.
That's good.
And to go on that, actually, we're about to start doing live office hours in our Facebook group, where you can just jump in and sit in queue and ask, or if you hear me answer a question to somebody else, that may be have answered it for you, kind of thing. Right.
Okay. Very good. So last question for you. If someone wants to learn more about Leadngage and all the different tools you have available, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Yeah, so we have web chat on our website, and just go to leadngage.com. It's actually leadngage.com, but we did buy the proper spelling, so now they both route. We found that out. But our website, we try to keep it updated, and you can web chat in, and or you can pick up phone and call us. We're here. So we decided to offer a free trial. The free trial is 7 days. You cannot text with the free trial, but you can emulate texting, and just to see the embedded app and kind of see it live. And because there is an onboarding process with texting and all that, but we do have a free trial, so anybody can jump on there and try it for free. And everything new will be posted as we go.
Very good. Well, I appreciate your time, Wade. It was very nice getting to talk with you and answering some of my unanswered questions. So I appreciate you doing a deep dive into all that Leadngage does. And I'm really looking forward to seeing all the new features you're adding. And I know you've got constant ideas from yourself, constant ideas for clients. So I'm excited to see what else you make.
Thank you, thank you. And thank you for being so good to all of our clients or doing all the campaigns. We're getting just huge success. Everybody recommends your team for doing all the great content. So it's been
Oh,
a
that's
big
so great to
getting
hear.
everybody onboarded.
Thank you, Wade. I appreciate it.
Great.